Meet Barnaby. Barnaby was a professional worrier. He lived in the cozy town of Oakhaven, inside a house filled with maps, compasses, thermometers, and rule books. Barnaby wanted to go on an adventure to the Blue Mountain, which was clearly visible from his window. But he couldn't just go. Oh no, that would be reckless. First, he had to prepare. Barnaby had been preparing for 5 years. He had 12 different types of hiking boots, tested for various soil acidity levels. He had a backpack that could transform into a tent, a boat, and a cappuccino machine. He had spent the last 6 months analyzing the wind patterns to determine the optimal humidity for walking. He was the grand master of doing absolutely nothing while looking very busy. One bright Tuesday morning, while Barnaby was debating whether to wear the blue socks, for luck, or the gray socks, for aerodynamics, a large, orange, fluffy cat jumped through his window. The cat landed on Barnaby's risk assessment spreadsheet, knocked over a cup of tea, and sat down, looking extremely pleased with itself. "You are blocking the data!" Barnaby shrieked. The cat yawned, revealing a mouthful of sharp teeth, and spoke in a deep, bored voice. "The data is boring, Barnaby. The Blue Mountain is calling, and I am hungry. Let's go." Barnaby stared. "I can't just go. I haven't finished my stretching routine. I haven't calculated the sandwich-to-kilometer ratio." "Calculations are for people who are afraid of rain," said the cat, whose name was evidently Sir Fluffington, though he refused to answer to it. He grabbed Barnaby's sleeve with his teeth and dragged him out the door. Barnaby stumbled out, wearing one boot and holding a toothbrush. "Wait! My survival kit! My backup survival kit for the backup survival kit!" They were outside. The sun was shockingly bright. The birds were singing, completely ignoring Barnaby's lack of preparation. "Listen," said the cat, trotting ahead. "The secret to adventure is not being ready, it's being moving. If you wait until you are ready, you will be a very well-prepared skeleton sitting in a living room." Their first obstacle was the Wobbly Bridge over the babbling brook. To Barnaby, it looked like a death trap. He took out a tape measure. "Okay, if the wind velocity is 5 knots and the wood rot is at 12%, we need to cross at a 45-degree angle." While he was doing math, the cat simply walked across, chasing a butterfly. "You're doing it wrong," shouted Barnaby. "You didn't check the structural integrity." The cat licked his paw on the other side. "I checked that the other side smells like wildflowers. That is enough integrity for me. Are you coming, or are you going to retire on that side of the river?" Barnaby groaned and ran across, eyes closed. He didn't die. He was surprised. They entered the Whispering Forest. Usually, this place scared travelers, but Barnaby was too busy worrying about the nutritional value of the berries to be scared of ghosts. "Are these blueberries or poison berries?" he mumbled, consulting a heavy encyclopedia he had hidden in his pajama pocket. The cat sighed. "Barnaby, look up." Barnaby looked up. Sunlight was filtering through the leaves like gold dust. Dust motes were dancing. It was beautiful. "You spend so much time looking at the map that you miss the territory. The map is just paper. This is the soup of life. Drink it." Suddenly, they faced a fork in the road. One path was smooth and paved, the other was steep and rocky. Barnaby immediately pointed to the smooth path. Logical choice, low caloric expenditure, safety rating A+. The cat shook his head and started walking up the rocky path. "Why?" cried Barnaby. "Because the smooth path goes in circles. The rocky path goes up." As they climbed, Barnaby started to sweat. He complained. He whined. "I'm not wearing the right moisture-wicking fabric." But strangely, he felt good. His heart was beating fast, not from anxiety, but from effort. For the first time in his life, his brain shut up. He was too busy breathing to worry about the future. Night fell. Barnaby panicked. "I didn't bring the tent. We will freeze. The wolves will eat us." The cat curled up into a ball under a giant fern. "The wolves are on vacation, and the moss is soft. Shut up and look at the stars, you neurotic monkey." Barnaby lay down. The moss was soft. The stars were brighter than any diagram he had ever studied. He fell asleep instantly. The next morning, they reached the base of the final climb. It was a vertical wall of rock. Barnaby's old self returned. "Impossible," he declared. "I need grappling hooks. I need a certification in rock climbing. We need to go back and take a 6-month course." The cat looked at him. "Barnaby, look at your hands." Barnaby looked. They were dirty, scratched, and strong. "You climbed here. You crossed the bridge. You slept in the woods. You are not the man who was reading rule books yesterday. You are the man who is here now. Trust your hands, not your head." Barnaby took a deep breath. He didn't think. He grabbed the rock. He pulled. It was hard. It was scary. He slipped once, scraping his knee. "Ouch!" he yelled. "Good!" shouted the cat from above. "Pain means you are interacting with reality. Keep going." He pulled himself over the final ledge. He collapsed, gasping for air. He opened his eyes. He was there. The peak of the Blue Mountain. The view was infinite. Green valleys, sparkling rivers, and his tiny town far, far away. The wind messed up his hair, and he didn't care. "We did it," Barnaby whispered. "But I wasn't ready." The cat sat next to him, purring like a diesel engine. "Nobody is ever ready, Barnaby. Birds fly before they know they can. Trees grow without a plan. The only thing that needs a plan is a machine. And you, my friend, are a messy, sweaty, glorious human." Barnaby laughed. He laughed at his charts, his thermometers, and his fears. He realized that the Department of Overthinking was just a prison he built for himself. He took off his single boot and threw it off the mountain. "Hey," said the cat, "that was a perfectly good boot." "I know," said Barnaby. "I'll find another one on the way down. Let's go chase some butterflies." Life is not a project to be managed. It is a messy hike to be walked. You don't need the right gear. You don't need the perfect map. You just need to open the door, ignore the data, and follow the cat. Because the view from the top is much better than the view from your living room window.